Cool. We are all set to get started. I see a few of you have already joined. Thanks, Kel, for confirming that I'm audible loud and clear. So welcome everyone. Very good evening. Thanks for all for joining in the Ask Me Anything session today on specifically on the agentic AI era and the skills and the roles that will lead the future. We have an amazing panel here today from diverse background and all to answer all your queries with respect to your roles and your work experience. Um, I'll be your moderator for today. This is Abhinav. I work as a product lead for the AI courses into Kickstart. This is the agenda that I'll be driving. Starting from the rise of agentic AI, why it's the next major thing. We'll also share some of the key job trends with you for 2025 that we have gathered from a lot of hiring managers calls. The primarily this session will be an interactive Ask Me Anything session. So please utilize the Q&A box to share your queries. You can also raise your hand when we start the Q&A, and I'll mute you, and then you can ask your question directly to the panel as well. Um, and then towards the end, I'll also cover how into Kickstart as a platform have the best up-leveling solution for you if you're looking to upskill and lead the AI wave. Right? So before we get started, I would request everyone to drop their names, their current location, their role, the location, and their company in the chat. It will help us tailor the conversation and also help you connect with others in the session. So let's keep it interactive. Please feel free to give a quick introduction in the chat. Um, that would be really great to see the folks here who have joined from uh, various regions of the country.
Abhinav, looks like chat is disabled. Can
Okay.
you enable it?
Okay. Uh, Arvind, are you there? Can you please enable the chat? Wait. Okay. I see the chat is enabled now. Thanks, Arvind. George, Kel, hey, hi. Yeah. So yeah, coming back, please feel free to drop your quick introduction in the chat. I see Giri has posted. Hey, hi, Giri. Welcome to the session today. What about others? Cat has raised their hand. So, Cat, I will unmute you once we go towards the AMA session, and we'll definitely would like to hear your thoughts and your questions. So, I see now introduction flowing in. Hey, hi, Hinduraj. Uh, no issues, Cat. Sudhanshu, hi. Julia, Giri, James. Hey, hi, folks. So yeah, so while you guys are putting up your quick introduction for everybody's reference, let me quickly move forward and introduce you to the panel as well. So this is the panel that we have. We have Praveen, who's a product lead at Rafe. He has also worked with Meta and Microsoft before. Um, he'll be answering your questions on the AI products and everything related to how these are in sort of transforming the product leadership and product strategies. We have Ahmed with us. He's a senior ML engineer at Google, working with key Gen AI projects. We have Kyle, principal backend engineer, who has been doing quite a lot of work and a very interesting work on the agentic AI app development side. So welcome everyone, welcome Praveen, Ahmed, and Kyle to the session today. Looking forward to a very interactive and insightful session. Cool. Um, so moving forward, so what I will do is I just have few couple of slides to set the context, and then we'll start with the I will start with the AMA itself. So let's get started. So the first thing we are covering is the age of agentic AI itself, and then we'll open up for Q&A. So When we look at the quick journey of the last decade, so this slide captures that powerful story of how machines moved from simply recognizing images to making decisions using tools in just 10 years, right? So in 2012, we had AlexNet, a deep learning model that drastically improved image recognition, and suddenly machines could see with near human accuracy. We call this phase as the beginning of perception AI, where system learn to process and interpret visual and textual data. Frameworks like TORS, Theano, Cafe supported this early momentum. Over the next few years, AI was no longer limited to just classification tasks. It could analyze, interpret, and even respond to information. Teams at Google, DeepMind, MIT, Stanford, IBM pushed the envelope little further, and the next big leap with generative AI happened, as we all know, in late 2020, 2022. With ChatGPT, generative AI was brought into every household, right? So now suddenly AI wasn't just analyzing content, it was creating content as well, right? And that's a big difference between the deep learning model that was before the Gen AI era and why Gen AI became so popular. And the platforms like Hugging Face, Copilot, Anthropic, and Llama helped this democratization of AI. And now we are in the agentic AI era, and these systems don't just generate content; they act autonomously, make decisions, and use tools to complete tasks. Right? So think of AI agent that can take actions on your behalf, like LandGraph, Haystack, Crew.ai, and more. These are the building blocks of AI agents. And in the next 6, 8 years, we moved from AI that could see to AI that could speak, and now we have AI that could act, right? And this is the evolution that has been happened in the last 1 decade. Um, it has gained a quite of you can say attention as well, and a lot of initiatives being sort of prioritized over this in the industry as well. So you can look at a few of the headlines here. So Amazon renaming Alexa, it's no longer just a voice assistant, but evolving into a fully fledged AI agent capable of making decisions and task execution. Meta is betting big, stating that every business will soon use agentic AI. And that's a powerful signal. It means this shift is not for tech giants, but for all sectors and all scales. Even if you look at something as simple as Google search trend, which indicates where the world is moving, you can see that there is a massive increase in agentic AI searches. This has been building for a while now, starting from 2019, where the early discussion started on this. And then in 2022, as we all know, the generative AI boom happened. So over the next couple of years, we went from commercial applications to major initiatives and product around it, to finally a point where Gartner named agentic AI as the top trend of 2025 itself, right? And all the top folks in and around tech have clearly identified that this is the year of AI agent. So don't take our words for it. You can see what these tech leaders are saying, including Satya Nadella, Jensen Huang, and Sam Altman. Satya Nadella even said that AI will transform all of SaaS, and Ginseng and Sam also believes that um, even think that agentic AI will join the workflows in 2025 itself. Right? So all of these lays a foundation for what we are expecting right now. And that is the wave of agentic AI and the impact on our career and future. And that brings us to the second point of the agenda today. What is the AI impact and relevancy in the job roles itself? Right? So we saw a quick context of how, let's say, it is sort of being adapted, or how it is being taken up by the industry leaders and in the larger tech industry. Um, so these are some of the insights that we have got from our own research with Fang Plus hiring managers, and so we are now at a pivotal point where AI is not no longer just supporting workflows. It is starting to replace decision making, orchestrate systems, and independently drive product behavior. So this slide captures how agentic AI reshaping key tech roles and highlights the opportunity ahead for those who adapt quickly. The framing is simple. What is the core job these roles were hired to do and how agentic AI is transforming the work, right? So for software engineers, the traditional job has been to design, build, optimize systems for efficient and reliability. With agentic AI, much of the coding, debugging, optimization is becoming automated. Engineers now have the opportunity to design agentic architecture, master reinforcement learning techniques, and own complex autonomous workflows. So those who stick to the old models risk falling behind peers who are building at 10x speed with agentic orchestration. For product and program managers, the focus has traditionally been delivering valuable, scalable product. Agentic AI now powers uh, autonomous product flows, inject personalization into user journey, and enables product to adapt dramatically. PMs and DPMs who learn to design around agents, AI capabilities will lead the next generation of AI products, while those who don't may find themselves sidelined. Right? So for engineering managers, similarly, the role has centered on scaling teams and systems effectively. With agentic AI orchestration itself becoming automated, the team collaboration increasingly happens through agent-driven systems, and EMs who embrace this shift can lead AI transformation efforts inside their organization and build credibility managing multi-agent engineering environment. And those who don't falls you know falls behind their competitors and their peers. So the key takeaway is this: agentic AI is not replacing roles; it is fundamentally reshaping what your role is core. What was your core role? And this moment is not just about adapting to change; it is about seizing the opportunity to redefine what your next career move could be. Right. So, and that's the beauty of the panel or of the agenda today as well. We have folks from almost all of these job roles or different work backgrounds, and I see our audience is also diverse. So feel free to ask your questions specific to your roles, your domains, and then the panel will help you with a clear career strategy or guidance for your next big career leap. Right? So similarly, for cloud and SRE professionals, agentic AI is taking over tasks like resource scaling, anomaly detection, and incident response. Work that once demanded constant manual oversight. Staying focused only on manual intervention will not be enough. This shift is toward intelligent cloud design and building proactive agent-driven monitoring systems. For cybersecurity, AI is transforming static defense into adapting, always on threat detection and responses. Manual rules and traditional playbooks are being phased out. So engineers who learn to integrate agentic AI systems into security operations will define the next generation of cyber defense. Right? And this is beyond engineering as well. So for STEM professionals, agentic AI is accelerating research workflows, simulations and discoveries across industries like healthcare, robotics, and sustainability, and even job functions like HR, marketing, sales, CRM, so on. So relying solely on traditional time-intensive methods will leave you behind. Combining domain expertise with AI-driven analysis is now the path to leading innovation, right? So this is not just a change in tools, it's a change in how these professionals create value. Agentic AI is redrawing the map, and those willing to move early will shape what comes the next, right? And Some of the things I also want to share is the job description analysis that we had done on about 10,000 job descriptions last quarter, and we have seen up to 15 to 25% of JDs asking for generative AI and agentic AI skills. So, for example, for software engineers, it was almost 25% of job roles that were specifically looking for generative AI and agentic AI skills. Generative AI being the core skill of agentic AI itself. So, those are something which was now being part of core software engineering role across companies, right, across tier one, tier two companies across their size, right? So some of more this job descriptions here. Similarly, for technical program managers, because they have to drive a lot of cross team collaboration and manage AI driven projects. So for them as well, having that domain knowledge is sort of being asked. For product managers, supposed to lead the AI product strategies, innovation roadmaps, and the whole leading from the front on AI adoption. The domain knowledge is obviously something which is can be a key role. And for engineering managers as well, all the engineering strategies have to go through them. So that was also a part. And with these changes in the job role itself, new skills, new competitive skills being added, we have seen a bump in the average salaries as well, right? And then the point here was, let's say you have an average salary for a FANG plus engineer, and on top of that, if let's say you have Gen AI enablement or agentic AI skills, right, some competitive skills, so those professionals were in a very good place to even negotiate a 10 to 20% higher salary ranges, right? And this was specifically for organizations who are competing for that talent to lead AI first initiatives. And that's the story across FANG, as we all know, right? So this slide quickly captures that, give you that anecdote on how these AI roles are being compensated compared to, let's say, regular roles in FANG plus companies. So now that brings us to the main section of the webinar, of the AMA session today. So please feel free to drop your question in the Q&A. Let me check if you already have a few questions, and let's get quickly started seeing what all questions you have for the panel. Let me just open it up. Yeah. So this is your chance, guys. In the meanwhile, yeah. Hey, hi, Praveen, Kyle, Ahmed. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, we know. Doing good. Thank you for hosting us.
Thanks for
Hello.
joining
All
in.
right. Thanks for having me.
So some of the questions were sort of also, we being asked a lot of times in our other webinars as well. Um, So one of the big thing, I mean, in general, being called out is, let's say, your perspective on how these roles will change, these roles will adapt. So first, I wanted to ask Praveen. So let's say, as a product leader's lens, um, how do you see AI agents changing the way of product teams operate? And will this shift require PM to develop new technical skills or frameworks? And if you can sort of give idea about how much deeper they should go
Yeah.
in terms of these agentic AI or general AI skills.
I think great question. I mean, this is something that we kind of debate, within our teams and also across the organization, but also across various customers and partners that we deal with, right? In terms of how all these AI agents and AI overall is shaping various roles, primarily from a TPM or a product manager perspective, right? So if you look at the general description of the role itself is like you're someone who is coming up with a vision for your product, right? You're envisioning something that doesn't exist today or an improvement that you want to build, right? But then, traditional way, if you look at it, where do you start? You start with writing a requirements doc, or you start with a one pager or a two pager, right? But then, you basically go into this loop of expanding that into finer details and then converting that into a tech spec and eventually working with an engineer to get it developed and delivered, right? So it's a that's a traditional method. But then what has happened with the fast-paced Gen AI and agentic AI is that now like a lot of times what we are doing, we are writing our requirements and then we are actually feeding that to some of the custom agents that we have built to generate our frames, generate our UI experience, but also perform these workflows and build POCs. Something that used to take us like weeks and months to show proof of life of a concept is now taking like hours, if not days, right? So So I would say, like, the overall SDLC from a product standpoint has accelerated. And now, one of the things that everybody was talking about back in the days, agile, right? Why agile was so famous? Because you wanted a faster turnaround. You wanted to try something fast, fail fast, and recover from there, and then build something better. AI, Gen AI, and Agentic AI is actually making it possible today, right? If I want to quickly spin up a POC or proof of life and see like whether it's going to work for my organization or my customers, I can do that without wasting everybody's cycles.
Got it. Got it. That's a great insight, Praveen. So Kyle, now let's say product engineering teams are supposed to work very closely. So if product is sort of experimenting at that fast phase in that particular manner, so how is software engineering sort of adapting to that?
Yeah, I would say software engineering is adapting by using agentic AI primarily through this thing called vibe coding, where you're
Mm.
using AI to implement a lot of the coding that you want to do. So a lot of that is being achieved through Cursor or Windsurf, and I believe there are new ones coming out directly from Anthropic and ChatGPT as well, which run within your terminal. But software developers, I think, in the future are really going to be using these agentic AI tools directly to write a lot of the code. So in more detail, if you've used Cursor, you essentially have an AI bot who can read all of your code files, understand which ones to include in its generation, and then independently go through all of your files and make the changes as necessary. So as a software developer, the skill to properly use those tools and understand their limitations is going to be a big skill moving forward.
Got it. Got it. Thanks, Cheng. Jaipal has asked, does this eliminate need of product managers? Say partially. I think this is the follow-up question for you, Praveen.
Yeah, I mean, I think this kind of comes up every time we do, a conversation around how AI is changing the roles, right? Like, I'm pretty sure you run into this in every AMS session, right? Not just for product managers, but also I'm kind of generalizing it for every role, even software engineers, right? Honestly, I don't believe it will eliminate the need of any of the roles, like maybe product managers or software engineers, right? And then this thing, just take a step back and think about it, right? Back in the day, if you were to build like a, let's say a 3-tier web application, it used to take you like, 3 months to 6 months. But then as technology evolved, what happened is you were able to spin it up faster and faster. Did that eliminate role? Not really. Like, it actually helped you achieve a lot more. So what I would say is, if you are, getting your hands dirty with learning all the AI tools, you will become relevant to the industry. And your role will be more and more crucial as a product manager. Now you can deliver more features or more products, but not less, right? And if you're not relevant to the industry anymore, like you don't want to learn AI, you don't know how this works, and you are not able to collaborate and contribute to this AI based ecosystem, then you will become irrelevant. So I would say, as long as you are getting those skills, and making yourself relevant, you can actually achieve more using AI rather than thinking about it as a threat to your survival. Honestly, that's what I feel like. I let Kyle and Ahmed provide their views as well. But I feel like it's an opportunity for us to deliver a larger impact. Honestly.
Yeah, Ahmed, would you like to add?
Oh,
Um,
yeah. So
we
I
have seen
think
this evolution happen very closely from the technical perspective as well. So
I think
let us know your views on the same.
I think like me, like other software engineers, went through like the denial stage that, oh, this is not happening, this is not speeding things up, to the realization that it is happening regardless of us wanting this to happen or not. And the best thing that you can do is actually benefiting from it. It's in my opinion, it's not going to replace engineers, but it's going to make some engineers more efficient than others. Those who understand the foundations and can use tools will like evolve pretty quickly.
those who can actually use these tools to automate the mundane tasks or the very repetitive tasks will just have more time to work on the more impactful things that need their attention. So if you adapt this mindset, you'll find actually this is useful for you, because I don't really need to spend like long time writing this repetitive piece of code. I can just automate that, make sure that it makes what it's supposed to be doing, and then spend my time on the more interesting stuff.
Thanks, Ahmed. So Cheng, I mean, Kel has a relevant question for you. So he has asked, so agentic AI is not a tool or a brand, it's a type of complex autonomous agent. And there's a follow-up question, it's a skill that needs to be learned with a question mark. So would you like to give a quick brief, set the context of what AI agents are and what needs to be, let's say, what's the uh, job action for the working professionals?
Yeah, so yeah, overall, agentic AI is essentially an AI that can act on your behalf in a multi-step manner. So the initial iteration of ChatGPT back in the day, you ask the AI a question, it responds to you, and you're done. Now, agentic AI is ChatGPT on steroids. It can do a bunch of actions on your behalf, can control your computer screen, can interact with data APIs, and do multiple interactions, all based on a single question you might have asked them in the past. And a question, it's a skill that needs to be learned. Definitely it is, because there's a lot of promise in the media on what it can do, but you really need to get your hands dirty, so to speak, and use it to understand the promises it can deliver on, but also its severe limitations as well. You can see this easily when you use something like Cursor AI to do agentic vibe coding for your code. It can do a lot of great things. It can make a web app for you, like Praveen was suggesting. But then if you ask for something a bit too complex, it can also end up wasting your time, lying to you, and making mistakes that you might not have done if you had made the code yourself. So understanding its limitations and also its strengths is a really key part to understanding agentic AI. Speaking for like the software developer side, learning what agentic AI is, I would say that it's it's best to kind of use the like Anthropic Cloud desktop app or use LangChain and just understand the underlying technical foundations for how it's working. If you want to understand kind of technically how it's all set up, but as like a non-technical person or a product person, just using the existing APIs already would make a lot of sense as well. Yeah.
Got it. Thanks. So I see a couple of relevant questions. I'll probably combine them. So Madhvi has also asked, I need to lead AI initiatives. So where do I start utilizing AI in increasing efficiency? And there is somewhat relevant question, but a little bit specific from James, that how can I use AI agents for UX design and product management? So in general, if we have to sort of mention for a typical working professional, where they can start with agentic AI and what tools they can sort of explore first. So what would be your recommendation, Praveen?
I would say, like, first of all, like, get down to the basics, right? Understand the fundamentals, right? What does, don't jump directly into, I want to become an expert in agentic AI. So understand the underlying fundamentals. Like, what does agentic AI mean, right? Basically, nothing but, an autonomous ecosystem that is a, combination of one or more AI agents, right? It can be just for knowledge retrieval, data retrieval, or it can be to even perform tasks like which includes like complex workflows, like Cheng was talking about, right? So first understand what is an AI agent mean, right? And maybe go before that, like the evolution that Abhinav was talking about, like how AI was there back in the day, right? There were statistical models, then there were neural models that came into picture, how the AI, machine learning models are structured, how they are trained, and how that evolution has happened, right? So I would say, like, get a fundamental understanding, and then get to your AI agents, and then eventually agentic AI, to understand what are the pros and cons, right? Because obviously the technology is so new that I don't think all the controls that are required are in place yet, right? So it is better for us to understand what the limitations are. Like Cheng was talking about a scenario where the technology might hallucinate and give you lead you in a path that would waste a lot of your time. So if you don't understand what are the benefits and also what are potential cons to this approach, then it would be like down the rabbit hole path, right? So rather, I would say like learn it ground up, and then map the technology to your requirement. Like, one of the questions that James was asking is like, how can I use agentic AI for UX design and product management? To give you an example, working with I'm working with somebody who's trying to build APIs for a really large financial organization, and they're basically trying to build these APIs and RESTful endpoints on Azure cloud. Now, typically, if I look at their engineering cycle, it takes a lot of time in terms of defining the requirements and writing contracts, all the way to delivering the actual API. Now, what we have done is we've used Anthropic's cloud and Anthropic's the agents, and what we have done is we have provided these contracts, API contracts, and the requirements, which are very neatly drafted by their analysts as an input, and then I would say that we were able to generate the UX screens, but also we were able to generate the API code, which is basically a skeleton that is readily available for the developers to use. Like what Ahmad was talking about, I don't want to spend a lot of time on you know redundant tasks or very easy tasks that would consume a lot of my time as a developer, but rather I want to work on that efficient logic, right? That's what we've kind of completely eliminated that part, right? So I would say like, learn the technology, align it with what your requirement is and what you want to achieve, and then tie them together. I would say like that path would be the most optimized and efficient for you when you're learning and implementing.
Makes sense. Thanks, Praveen. Cheng, would you like to add? Ahmad, I see you want to, let's say something. Please go ahead. Then we'll move on to Cheng.
Yeah, I think I like the part on like learning the foundations and like going to the first principles. It's very easy to get too excited about new like tools and you lose track of what this tool is doing and how it fits in your use case or in your application. So go back to the first principle, understand the basics will be very helpful to decide the next steps.
Yeah, and just to briefly build on that, I think we have a very diverse audience here. So a lot of people would want to use AI for a very different set. As a developer, I think Cursor is a great start, but I'm sure there's a lot of other people who don't necessarily need to code, but want to understand how AI agents work. For that, I would actually highly recommend using Anthropic Desktop and setting up MCP servers with it. There's an MCP server integration for literally anything. So there's a Gmail MCP, there's like GitHub MCPs, those MCPs to read in Slack and Discord, all of these different sort of ways for the AI to interact with something, you can easily, set that MCP server up within Cloud Desktop and just start using it. Say, hey, what's my email? What did Bob send me in Gmail? What was the latest set of Discord messages? And just see how the AI interacts with that and starts to behave with that internal data source that you have. That's a great way to kind of get a basic feel for how it behaves as well.
Thanks, Cheng. Um, Madhvi, James, and I saw Pritham, you had a similar sort of a question. So I hope you got a good sort of answer and response to it. So if there are any follow-up question, please feel free to put that across as well. Um, so Cheng, you talked about MCP, and there is a lot of buzz that goes around typical keywords such as, agentic AI we just demystified, but let's say RAG and MCP also itself. So would you like to, quickly set up a context here, the differences between RAG agents and MCP on a higher level, in an intuitive manner, what these keywords are and how these differ from each other?
Yeah, sure. So RAG versus MCP. I think also it'd be worth just briefly discussing LangChain and existing AI frameworks. So before, when you wanted to make an agentic AI, you had to manually set up the AI reasoning flow. You had to say, hey, AI, do this. And if something doesn't happen, do another thing. You had to manually kind of think about all the different cases and prompt the AI for all of those different cases, construct a whole complex graph for how the AI should think, and then hope that it all worked. Now, with the latest models from Anthropic and OpenAI, this reasoning is built into the AI. So essentially, the AI interface that you're interacting with is now agentic. It can think and act on its own behalf and do all of these things independently. That's kind of the reasoning feature that you might be able to check on and off when you're interacting with a chat API. So to go directly to the RAG versus MCP kind of question before, well, RAG is a concept where you want to have access, well, you want the AI to have access to your own data set. So RAG, retrieval augmented generation, is a process in which you essentially create a vector store of your own data and allow the AI, you actually have an interface that gets the most relevant vectors from that vector store, feeds it into the AI manually, and then the AI would just kind of, given that input, know how to respond to you um, based on that data. And then MCP is essentially a way in which you can have all of these different servers that encapsulate a specific piece of functionality that the AI can control, and allow you to easily feed that to the AI. So the AI with an MCP server for Gmail related to your account is now an AI who can control your Gmail account, or an AI MCP server that can control your desktop screen is now an AI that can control your desktop screen for you. So those are kind of the different terms there. Abhinav, what was like the general question with that? Just an explanation of the terms, or was there a larger end question as well?
The general explanation of terms.
Cool. Yeah, so that is the general explanation.
Good. Thanks, Cheng.
I would just add to that on and kind of align it with a question that Preetham was asking in the chat as well, right? In terms of what kind of risk do we have when you want to implement on production, and how to ensure accuracy, right? So one of the things that we recently done is we have replaced our tier one service desk with a chat agent, right? And we have actually one of the things that we did is we wanted to contain the scope, right? So what we did, we used a RAG model. We built a RAG model and trained it exclusively with our data sets. That way, one of the platform that we kind of provide to customers is a platform that can manage every type of Kubernetes environment out there. And now, if we didn't use custom data sets, right, and then if we ask the same question to this agent, it would actually go fetch more of a generally available information, but then we want it to be specifically focused on our product and our organization, right? So we kind of built that guardrail, and we said, like, this is the scope, don't go beyond it, right? And then we kind of trained it within that scope. So we were able to build that RAG model and completely get the information that is relevant to our customers and our organization, rather than going away and fetching it from a generic model like a GPT, right? So that's a kind of guardrail. Now, with respect to whether it's going to be risk or not, obviously there'll be a lot of risk. So it depends on how strong your guardrails are, and whether what are the kind of cases that would break or impact your production environments, right? So I would say, like, try to build that, go small, and then eventually keep on expanding, and then start with a limited scope, and again, broaden it as much as you would like to.
Thanks, Praveen. So next question we have from Enduraj. I see the question says, I am a data scientist. I don't have GenAI projects on my workplace. So how to transition to GenAI roles? Only way I see to make hobby project. So are hobby projects good enough for me to be considered for a GenAI role? And what should be the level of these hobby projects? Example should be a full stack or a POC kind of a thing is enough, right? So Ahmed, I believe this is where we'll need your expertise on how GenAI roles can be targeted by Induraj.
Right. Yeah. So I think copy projects are better than no projects. So you have to start somewhere. So, um, like you don't want to get into a situation where you have an opportunity but you're not ready for it because you didn't practice on these. Just like get your hands dirty and try things. That's much better than not trying anything. In terms of like which projects you should be working on, Since you are a data scientist, I will assume that you are looking for data science related roles rather than ML engineering roles. And in this case, I think like working on quality problems, basically, trying fine tuning or prompt engineering, and measuring the success of this technique or that data set and coming up with analysis and some insights about the data and how the model performs will be an interesting thing. Trying to compare different models on different problems and come up with some conclusions will be the closest to data science roles. If you're interested more on like ML engineering roles, then you can start exploring um, building POCs and small solutions for actual problems. Um, I like the hands-on projects because it helps me understand some of the main ideas and some of the core concepts more than reading about these concepts. So I think like hobby projects are going to be useful. Of course, if you have like an opportunity to apply these techniques and ideas in like professional setup, that's even better. But even if you don't have anything, just getting started with something will be useful.
Yeah, and I can just briefly build up on that too. So I've been curious about AI, been learning about it about 2 years ago. And my role at Oracle is not necessarily AI heavy. I do backend engineering. I really wanted to get into the AI race as a full stack kind of experienced developer. So I actually did make a side project, almost startup, in my free time. I can actually share the link here. And I open source this. I have like a full technical diagram with demos of what's going on. And I've personally found, even though I don't do it primarily in my job, I recently released my profile about a month ago, and in that month, I've actually gotten a recruiter from an AI company reaching out every single day. So I'll get like one or two or even three recruiters in my inbox just saying, "Hey, like, would you like this AI engineering role? Would you want to be considered here?" So I've found that really doing a side project, demonstrating the impact, including it in my LinkedIn, including it in my resume, has just passively allowed me to get so many AI engineer roles that I'm just overwhelmed at this point. So I would highly recommend kind of open sourcing, doing a demo AI project in your site and really trying to solve a hard problem and having a cool kind of solution for it that you can share with recruiters and just share passively as a link, GitHub open source link to get interest as well.
Got it. Thanks, Cheng. In fact, we also have a couple of offerings around building projects, both from a foundations perspective, where we want to take a first principle approach, build fundamentals first, and then do projects which are, let's say, portfolio worthy, as the link um, Kyle has shared. And also for our data scientists, machine learning engineers who just want to dive deeper into building GenAI projects. So we have Project Up and Agentic AI offerings for that. I'll be covering that in a while. Yeah. So the next question we have is from Kim. I do have on the question of training in agentic AI. Will agentic AI help me fight ageism? I am facing it while finding a new job. I am thinking of doing consulting and helping companies start AI. So Praveen, would you like to take this particular question on how agentic AI might help Kim?
I would say like I don't think I can specifically answer in terms of whether it's gonna help with ageism. I'm not sure. However, I would say like that should not be a factor at all, right? In case like what Cheng was doing, right? I don't think these recruiters or anybody else know Cheng personally, right? Like his work, his his repository basically did all the talking for him. Like he built that credentials in the market, and then people started reaching out, right? So I would say like build those credentials and then showcase your work, and then everything else is secondary. So I would say like those credentials is what matters end of the day, because it is such a niche technology, is like I would say like it's such a niche skill right now. There are, I would say like barely enough percentage of AI engineers and experts that are required versus the number of people that are available in the market, right? So it's a ripe opportunity. It's a fantastic opportunity. The moment you think like you've actually built that expertise and credentials, and you're actually showcasing them, everything else, automatically gets aligned for you. Hope that answers, Kim. I'm not sure if there's anything specific that you would want us to talk about.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Praveen. Kim, please feel free to put up if you have any follow-up question. The next question we have is from Kat. So Kat, would you like me to unmute yourself? I saw your hand raised earlier as well. Sure. Um,
Hi, how are
yes.
you?
Hey, hi. All good. How are you?
I'm great. This is very informative, and I appreciate you taking the time to put this together. And everyone who's sharing tonight is very helpful. Even the questions are, sparking things. So that's wonderful. But my question is like things are moving super fast with AI and the technology and new capabilities that we have every day. And I'm wondering like how fast do we have to stay on board? Like, do we have to keep changing our processes and developing things? Like, I'm a business owner and I do create AI agents and automations for different small businesses. And I don't know, like, do I need to like stay updated or do I need to like wait until like everything is proven that it's really gonna stick around? I don't know. What do you guys think about what I'm saying?
You want me to take that, Abhinav?
Yeah, Praveen, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, Kat, I think fantastic question. I completely agree with you like that things are changing every day, right? If not every hour, right? So things are moving really fast. And look at when ChatGPT was first launched versus where we are now and how much improvement even just the Gen AI has gone through. And with the advent of agentic AI, I would say like, it's a game changer for a lot of organizations. However, if you really look at AI penetration across the industry, I wouldn't say like I wouldn't even call it we are at the nascent stage, right? We are pre-nascent stage. Everybody talks about it, but for somebody to move from what they're doing into implementing AI, especially look at like healthcare or financial industries, right? Maybe a handful of organizations are really putting their best foot forward and then adopting AI and then trying to build things. However, a lot of them are still kind of debating where do I start and how do I start, right? So I would say like we are in pre-nascency, and the adoption, though there is an accelerated need for adoption, but the actual adoption in terms of how much production-based work is done using AI is very limited, and it's changing day in, day out. So I would say like, continue um, investing into building those skills and enabling businesses with, what is the best thing for them. Maybe, a lot of these small businesses might not even need agentic AI, right? They might need a simple generative AI based solution, right? So I would say tap the requirement and then map it to which tech suits that requirement best. And then I would say like, but be prepared and be engaged with how fast the technology is transforming. And then as you see more and more opportunity, keep upgrading these your customers and also the businesses that you work with.
Am I still on mute?
Yes, Kat. Please go ahead.
Oh, that was great. Thank you. I didn't think of that answer like and it's just excellent because whatever as people who are in the field and understand what's happening and how it's going so fast, whatever we offer, the everyday small business is more than they already know. So that's kind of what I got from you when you said that. So like as long as we're staying informed and updated, we're not falling behind is what I heard you say. So thank you
Absolutely.
so much.
Yeah, and I'll give you an example. Like I deal with a lot of customers day in, day out who have actually, like they had this FOMO, right? Fear of missing out on AI train. And they have actually spent like these hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions, right, to acquire GPUs. And then they have the GPUs now. They have the hardware, but they don't know where to start, right? They don't know how to break it down into consumable piece so that their engineers, their data scientists can start, having GPU-based environments to build these ML models or even leverage, your Gen AI skills to contribute into their business success, right? So I would say like even large organizations are still figuring out what is the right first step and what is the next step. So I would say like everybody want to get onto that train, so the opportunity is ripe. Keep at it, keep acquiring the latest skills, and then it's all about implementing those to the right needs that your businesses have.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kat. Cheng, would you like to add something from your side?
Yeah, in terms of like directly for keeping up to date, I would recommend several newsletters. I think I use the Rundown AI. It's a daily newsletter, and they essentially do a very good summarization of like all of the major trends in AI for both technical people and I think product management people as well. As a business owner, I think it's a great way just to understand, hey, what are the latest capabilities of AI? So like what is the latest image capability, video capability? What's a new reasoning agent and why is it important? Newsletters like that or the rundown itself are a great way to just passively stay informed. So you don't have to feel like you're, at least before I was using it, when I heard about an AI investment, I would be like, oh shoot, I'm like 2 to 3 weeks late. So I feel like I'm kind of acting reactively. Rather, that newsletter allowed me to think more proactively, just saying, hey, this information is passively coming to me. So whenever I hear about the latest advancement, I already heard about it a couple days before. I was able to think about it a bit and react a bit appropriately as well.
The rundown you said?
Yeah, I'll share in the chat here the link.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Thanks, Check. Ahmad, any thoughts from your side as well? Please feel free to share.
Right. Yeah. I think it's like we all get this feeling of like the fear of falling behind. Everything is moving so fast, whether you're looking for at this from technical or product perspectives. I will just repeat my previous point, which is like thinking about like the first principles, like is this thing useful for my use case or not? There will be some interesting ideas. You don't have to try every single thing that's out there. Just being aware that there are something that could be useful if your situation change could be enough, but you don't. I don't think you should actually try to do everything that's out there.
Makes sense.
Thank you. So I hope, Kat, your question was answered.
Yep,
Any
totally.
comment?
Thank you.
Thank you. So, we talked about a lot of Kat's question and the question which came earlier as well, about adapting AI, going through the first principle foundations, mapping it to the use cases, being aware of the limitations, and so on. But I think one of the questions that also comes across, or one of the feelings that also come across, is it too late to get into agentic AI? What will be your thoughts on that, Cheng? So for a working professional who just started exploring agentic AI or Gen AI, knowing that it has been there for, let's say, around 2 years, 2.5 years now. So what would be your message for them if they are getting a feel of they may be too late in the AI race?
Yeah, I think overall, just in life, especially if you're 2 years behind, nothing's ever too late overall. But specifically for this, I think now is a very interesting time. So I put a lot of time learning about LangChain, Llama Index. These were essentially like they still exist now. They're very relevant, but they were ways to create this whole AI reasoning graph using all of the nodes. There are things like all these strategies with like few shot prompting, Langsmith, all of these different things, and they're all relevant, but with the way AI is moving, with kind of the built-in reasoning, the reasoning models that have been released recently, that kind of existing lane chain approach is also changing in itself. So since this field is changing so rapidly, a lot of the knowledge that was relevant and really important 2 years or 1 year ago is already becoming irrelevant. So that's both very exciting, but also kind of scary to people as well. But directly to this question, it means that you can start right now And you don't necessarily need to know the 2 year state of the art or the 1 year ago state of the art. You can start with the state of the art now, and it can almost be a benefit to you because you might not think, oh, I need to use LangChain, I need to do all these certain things. You can think, hey, the reasoning is built in, MCP is really cool, that's also new, that changes everything. Let me just get started right then and there, and you're already on kind of the newer approach that is seeing significant benefits over the previous approaches from 2 or 1 years ago. Yeah.
Thanks, Cheng.
I hate to do pep talks, but I can't help it. Like if you feel like it's already late, just like start now, and you'll be glad that you started like a year from now. You'll just be glad that you actually didn't give up and try something. I hate pep talks, but I couldn't help it. So
Cool. Thanks, Ahmed and Cheng. So Praveen, to you. So let's say things are becoming irrelevant also so fast. Let's say 2 years state of the art, 1 year state of the art. So as a product leader, because you have to also drive a lot of initiatives, capabilities should be there to drive those, and then people should be up to date for those new state of the arts and etc. How do you handle this? How do you handle things changing so fast, and how do you keep up to date yourself or your teams?
I would say, like, it's true that things are changing fast. A lot of things are becoming irrelevant. But if you look at it, right, I actually want to give it a different spin. I would say, like, the things that are irrelevant now were building blocks at some point, right? So, acquiring that knowledge at that point would have definitely helped you understand things that are happening right now faster, right? It's not like a throwaway knowledge, but to Ahmed and Cheng's point, right? It's not like you don't need to worry that you've missed out on the previous things. So it's a, like, start now and keep yourself plugged in, right? And lot of times, right? Like, product managers and TPMs that I've worked in the past, right? They are like so engrossed with the process layer and documentation layer that they actually forget that they are technologists first, right? I would say, like, bring or awaken that technologist in you, even though your title says you're a product manager or a TPM, right? That, get your hands dirty. And every change you can easily associate with. Like, for example, you were using all these GPT models, and then now you have Auto GPT and LangChain and other agentic AIs that are available. It won't feel like it's something new, it's something alien, right? But it feels like it's a step up, and you're already at nth step. You're getting to n plus one step, right? It's I would say that is why I called it like a building block. So you make yourself current at any given point in time, and then the next thing that you're going to learn will be easier for you to adapt to, right? So that's how I would see it. And I think what Cheng shared earlier, the rundown AI, it was, it's like a fantastic resource, honestly, because in the current age of social media and information, that so much is available, it feels overburdened at some times. It feels overboard, right? But things like these newsletters and other blogs that you can follow every now and then, which would give you the current state of affairs, right? So always pick a resource, right? If you don't like rundown, you pick something else which feels like you are getting most up-to-date information. So stay in touch, right? Spend like 30 minutes every day, and I don't think that's a huge ask. Spend like 30 minutes before you have your dinner, and then you understand what are the latest change in trends that happened this week or previous week. I would say, like, that is sufficient for you to keep in touch with technology evolution and get yourself plugged in very easily.
Thanks, Praveen. The next question we have is from Ganesh. So the question says, I'm a full stack developer and want to survive the AI race. I am using Cursor and MCP to improve my coding standards, but how can we develop agents that can be used for full stack? Can you recommend any best real-time use case course? I'm just done I just don't want completely move to AI engineering, but utilize my full stack skills with agentic AI. So courses wise, we'll cover a tailor-made course for software engineering, Ganesh, in a while. But anything on the general upskilling side, Kyle, you want to add? You want to give certain suggestions to Ganesh?
Yeah, MCP and cursor setup is a great start. Um, there are a lot of new tools. I think I probably saw this through the rundown or some other AI newsletter, but there are some very interesting tools in the PR review space. So AI bots that automatically create PR reviews, PRs themselves for specific code updates, which we already see kind of with dependent bot, but a bit more intelligent, and also automated PR review bots. So essentially, your senior dev time on a full stack team is quite valuable, but now there are AI bots that you can essentially kind of tailor to your team specific standards to automatically review all PRs and give insights. I use one of them as well. They're pretty good, very detailed in their scope. So that could be a good start. Based on your question, I get the sense maybe you're asking for a way to make a agentic AI that could maybe handle all of the full stack development. I know we've all heard about like Devin, that AI that was supposed to replace human software developers. I don't think it ever panned out. We're not at the point yet where AI can really independently do things. I think we're still seeing not great behavior for AI fixing bugs. I certainly don't see it myself. Like when something doesn't work or I want to do something very specific, the AI will tend to overcomplicate. And I'm sure maybe Ganesh, you saw this as well. So at the moment, I'm not aware of any thing that solves that. I'm definitely certainly on the lookout for it. But to answer overall your question, I would look kind of, and again, you can ask the AI with a web search for this. Just say, hey, what are the individual AI pieces that can help with the individual workflows for my full stack development? Cursor is obviously a huge base step, but there are other smaller AI things like automated code reviews, PR reviews that can further help you use agentic AI for your full stack development as well.
Thanks. Thanks, Cheng. Ganesh will sort of take the second half of your question in few minutes. Giri has asked, how do one position the skills we learn on the side on our resumes? So Ahmed, you had answered this briefly in terms of projects and all. Anything else you want to add on top of it, showcasing the skills part?
I think like Chung already mentioned, like creating projects, putting them on GitHub, it just speaks for themselves, right? Like it's just like showing that you have built stuff. You know the ins and outs. That's better than 1,000 words that you can put there. It's just like build something and add links to it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like, do not like trick yourself and say like, oh no, I'm not gonna build it unless it scales and it's perfect. Like, no, don't do this. Just build something, break that like barrier of entry, and then you will find yourself over time interested in improving it.
Thanks, Ahmed. How about for TPM? So I think Giri is coming from a TPM background. So anything specific, anything specific changes to that answer, Praveen?
Well, I think it's the same. Like they say, right? An image speaks is better than 1,000 words, right? And that proof of life or proof of concept that you're building and showcasing would do all the talking for you, right? So that one line in the resume with a link to your repository, and then number of stars that you receive, or number of contributors actively contributing to that code base speaks like miles, in terms of how good or what you have actually achieved or learned, right? And again, because the tech is so new, right, it's very hard for everybody to get like a real life project that you have done for an organization in your resume, right? And don't go behind that, right? Like just go for what you can achieve within the realm of what is available to you, and then that should actually help you grow. And like again, this is one of the questions that comes up very frequently, is like, are there any specific certifications that we can do, right? I have not found anything which is like the standard, that you can actually, I can confidently say like, go do this certification and it will add value, like CCNA or CCNP for networking people or even on the security side, right? But there's nothing which is built as a standard because it's so new and it's rapidly evolving. But I would say like, if you don't know like where to start, maybe start with some structured learning. It can be a course, it can be online learning, but start somewhere and then convert that into a practical implementation, however small, however big, and then let that be your credential.
Thanks, Praveen. Um, Next question we have from Preetham. So if I want to implement an AI agent to automate certain tasks in a marketing firm where there are no developers, can I do it myself with certain tools, or I need to formally learn certain skills? So Preetham, to your question, yes, with agentic AI and then how the whole tech stack has been evolved, you have tools where you don't need to code at all in order to build fairly capable AI agents also. So I'll cover a tailored path for for professionals who don't have who don't have let's say prerequisites of coding and how they can go about building AI agents. So we have courses which are, let's say, coding centric around agentic AI, which are low coding and no coding as well, right? So all three approaches uh, aligned with your work background and how you can still go upskill yourself in agentic AI and in a practical setting, so you can also build AI agents on your own without having to learn code, right? So give me a while, I'll just quickly cover that particular piece as well. Um, Next question we have is from Induraj. So he's following up from his last questions. What is the best strategy to come up with a good problem statement or hobby projects? Or if you can share some problem statements as well. Uh, so Ahmed, would you like to add a few things on this?
Um, I think like pick a problem that you're interested in because you're going to do this outside of hours or outside of working hours. So you want to be like have a little bit of interest in this. Pick a domain that you care about, like whether it's multimodal models or single modality or something that is relevant to what you work on, so that you can like stay interested in it. Uh, I don't think there's a one size fits all. Like some people have different interests in different things. Like some people like to work on text to SQL. Some people want to work on answering questions based on images. So if you are completely like not sure where to start, I would recommend searching for GitHub repos that have some agents that have been built. You can just like understand the problem from them, see what they're doing, try to mimic it at the beginning, and then you will find some inefficiencies or things that you want to build differently. Just start somewhere. You don't have to start with the best problem. Start even like with a simple RAG solution. Yes, it's not the most up-to-date things out at this moment, but start with somewhere, and then you will find the ball rolling on its own.
Cool. Thanks, Ahmed. Madhvi has put up a question on the chat. Are there any session for project control specifically? Um, Madhi, would you like to add some more context to that question? Or Ahmed, Cheng, Praveen, um, if you know the context, please feel free to ask.